What's happening, Atlanta Bird Gang? It's your boy Toddy checking in with a video, man. Hey, before we get started, as always, I always ask you guys a favor. Please hit the like button for me. Just press the like button. As I always say, it really helps the channel grow. Really helps the videos get out to other places, and that way everybody can get a taste of some of the content that we like to bring here on the channel. Thank you in advance. So let's get right to it, man. The big news, big news over the weekend. Um, Deion Sanders leaving Jackson State to take a job, head coach job, of course, for Colorado. And before I get into that, I know somebody probably thinking, "Well, this ain't Falcons. Why are we talking about this?" But on this channel, it's definitely a Falcons channel. But you'll notice that we'll touch on other things here and there from time to time, as they come along the pipeline. And this just happens to be one of those things. And to be technical, Deion is a former Falcon, so it is slightly Falcons related. But let's get to it, man. Like I don't not of course I'm not saying all black people, but I'm seeing a good deal a good amount of black people being very upset, pissed off, mad, outraged that Deion Sanders took the job at Colorado and left Jackson State. And I'm just going to tell y'all how I feel. And you are more than welcome to comment on how you feel. And in fact, I asked you to comment on how you feel, and you're more than welcome to comment how you feel, whether you do or don't agree with me. But I'm just seeing a lot of black people upset about it, talking about it, of course, on social media. That's been kind of like the hot topic of the weekend. And I do somewhat understand it, but I don't understand it. First off, like, how long did you really expect Deion Sanders to stay there? You know, did you expect him to stay there 20 years, 10 years, 15 years? You know, Deion never put a timeline commitment to the amount of time he was going to stay at Jackson State. So I'm seeing a lot of people say, well, he told lies, he used Jackson State, yada, 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 yada. Like, come on, y'all. I mean, people are just really upset that Deion did what Deion wanted to do, and Deion didn't do what they wanted him to do. That's what I'm seeing a lot of people upset about. They're upset that a 55-year-old man who they don't even know, first of all, they don't even know him personally. I don't know him either, but I'm not upset at him. But they're upset a 55-year-old man made a choice that was best for him and his family. And he did what he wanted to do and didn't do what they wanted to do. So they're very upset about it. I'm seeing so many different things on social media. I've heard people call him like a $40 hoe and just all kind of crazy stuff because the man decided to take the next step in his head coaching career. Let's start with the obvious, the money. Jackson State's salary was $300,000 per year, which I've read that he actually deferred to actually help out the school. So you're making $300,000 as a head coach. I'm not certain what his assistants were making. I read somewhere between 40 and 60,000. Don't hold me to that because I'm not sure. But going from 300,000 a year to around 5 million a year as a base salary, not including the incentives. I think the incentives could push him up to $7 million at Colorado. 300,000 a year, 5 million a year. 99.9% of us, we're going to take that pay raise and we're going to go and take that promotion. We're going to take that job. That just goes without saying. And people are expecting Deion to do something that they wouldn't even do themselves. And I'm just seeing so many people being upset about the decision he made, or Deion this, and he would never really swag. He used Jackson State. Like, come on, y'all, stop. And in what, 2 or 3 years, Deion Sanders gave Jackson State more exposure than they've had the last 50 years. He did a lot for the school, did a lot for the football team, gave them a lot of resources that they did not have before he came there and would not have had he went there. So, black people, what are we upset about? I mean, people's feelings are legitimately hurt about this. Well, he should have stayed at the black university, and not go to a Power 5 university, yada, yada. That's not your decision to make. That's not your decision to make. If I leave the city I live in and I move 200 miles north or south, you can't be mad at me about that. That's my decision to make. That's not your decision. What Deion does not have any effect on everybody who has all this negative input on what he did. Why not just be happy for the man? He did an excellent job at Jackson State, and he was rewarded handsomely with a pay increase. And then I've been going back with some people on this subject. Well, Deion a multi-millionaire. He didn't need the money. He don't need the money. And that logic, when people say he's a multi-millionaire, he don't need the money. Some of the dumbest logic you can reply with, he don't need, because he's a multi-millionaire, he don't need the money. One thing, there are multi-billionaires who get up at the break of dawn every single day, 6 or 7 days a week, to make more money. Billionaires, multi-billionaires. Just because you are a multi-millionaire, that don't mean you stop earning. I mean, what kind of low ambition, low vibrational train of thought is that? Another thing, anybody who's ever coached on any level, we could even go to the rec center level. If you have ever coached a rec center team, some 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, that takes a lot of time and commitment from you. Just coaching them on a part-time basis. And you're not even being paid, but it takes a whole lot of time and commitment. A lot of time being a coach. So just imagine coaching on a college level. So do you think Deion is going to be putting in 55, 60, 65 hours a week for the next 10 or 15 years and continually be underpaid based on his accomplishments and the things that he could bring to a program just because he's a multi-millionaire? Go on YouTube and look at Deion Sanders' house. He got his house on YouTube. Look at that house. You think the property taxes on that house is cheap? I don't know if he still pays a mortgage on it. I don't know. But if he does, I can guarantee that mortgage ain't cheap. I can guarantee you the cars he drives ain't cheap. I guarantee that the upkeep on his property isn't cheap. And if you know Deion like I do, and if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're familiar with Deion. Do y'all notice how Deion likes to dress? Deion has always been one of the best dressed athletes that I've seen. The last 30, 40 years. Y'all sound like Deion likes to dress. Deion likes high class, expensive clothing. That's just his lifestyle. And he has a family. So you're expecting a man to go years and years and years of being underpaid. I just don't understand that mentality. Like, why some black people just so hurt and pissed off by his decision? For what? You should be happy for the man. You should be happy for him. Deion has set the blueprint for HBCUs. He set a blueprint. Now it's up to others to follow it if they care about HBCUs as much as some proclaim they do. He set a blueprint. The blueprint is for other high-profile athletes such as him to do what he did. Imagine 5, 7, 8 years from now, Allen Iverson is a head basketball coach at the HBCU. Imagine what that would do for recruiting going to play for AI at a HBCU. Imagine that. Imagine in 30 years from now, Lamar Jackson is the head football coach at FAMU. Imagine the recruiting, the influence that he would have, just like Deion has. Just imagine that. Imagine 20 years from now, Julio Jones goes back to a HBCU in Alabama. He's the head football coach. Imagine how much influence he would have to bring in recruits. That's the blueprint. He's done his job. He gave us the blueprint. Now it's up to others to follow. So let's not sit here and be mad at Deion for doing something that 99% of us would do. Tomorrow, if somebody offered me 15 times more than what I make right now, I'm out of there. Peace. I'm gone with the wind. I'm gone. When do I start? When do I start? You offer me 15 times more than I make right now, and I'm not doing anything illegal or immoral for a job, I'm out of there. Bye. So why some black people are putting this burden on Deion's shoulder that he has to, it's now his responsibility to uplift, improve HBCUs for an extended period of time. You know, that the amount of time he did it was we should be grateful for that. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. But instead of giving him credit for that and clapping that he got a promotion, that he's now making top money, people upset. They're slandering his name. They're calling him names, being disrespectful. It's almost like, damn if I don't, damn if I do. You know? And that's why sometimes some celebrities, some high-profile people, that's why sometimes they don't like to give back sometimes. Because trust and believe, Deion was giving back by doing that. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. He could have went and been an assistant coach under somebody else at a Power 5 school. Who are we to tell Deion not to pursue his dreams? Who's to say that his dream wasn't to win a Super Bowl and also win a national championship with a Division I school? I just don't understand the outrage. And I know social media can be a weird place at times, and sometimes people just be upset just to have something to be upset about and be outraged about on social media. So that could have something to do with it. But some people, they're just legitimately pissed off that this man goes from making $300,000 to $5 million a year. And he's also bringing his assistants with them also. So now they're getting adequate pay. But instead, you know, people choose to slander Deion, just call him names and just be up. Why? And most of the people that I see who are upset about it, they don't even root and support for HBCUs. You know, like I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, and I see a lot of people talking junk on Deion, and you root for the University of Georgia every single year. You go to Georgia games. You go to Athens, Georgia. You go to University of Georgia games. You buy Georgia Bulldog paraphernalia. You buy Florida State paraphernalia. You buy Alabama Crimson Tide paraphernalia. I don't see you. So you're sitting here talking all this junk on Deion, and you don't even do what you're mad at him for saying that he's no longer doing. So if it was all about HBCUs, why don't you give that same energy to support, help, and uplift the HBCUs that you wanted Deion to continue to do? No, you're rooting for the Bulldogs. You're rooting for the Crimson Tide. You're rooting for the Seminoles. You're rooting for the Buckeyes. You know, I don't see you guys hollering and Grambling. Go Grambling. Fort Valley State. Albany State. Fam, you know. You're rooting for and supporting all the Power 5 schools. But you're mad at Deion for coaching a Power 5 school. How big of a hypocrite can one get? Don't make any sense to me, man. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't understand the vitriol from some black people at Deion presently, man. Like I said, I somewhat understand it, but overall, I don't understand it. You're really upset at a 55-year-old man for doing what's best for him and his family. And what a lot of people are they're upset about is they wanted Deion to do what they wanted him to do for their own personal gratification purposes. For their own personal gratification purposes. That's all it boiled down to, you know. But I guess I'll go ahead and close out, you know, this video. It's about 16 minutes long, and I know on YouTube people don't like watching long videos. I figured that out a long time ago. So I'll close it out. You know, I just wanted to make a video about this and actually verbalize it and talk about it. So anybody that does take the time to watch the entire video, thank you. I do very much appreciate it. So I'll close out. Again, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel. Definitely helps the channel out. But in closing, man, hey, get off Deion nuts. That's a grown man. Get off his nuts, man. That's a grown man who made a grown man decision. Grow up. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Only people that should feel some kind of way is Deion Sanders' family and the players that Deion recruited. Those are the only people who have the right to feel some kind of way. Everybody else, what you say, it don't matter in the grand scheme of things. So I'm gonna get out of here, man. Like I always say, I will see you the next time I see you. Peace.